Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Coach Prime, the Colorado Buffaloes seem to be really gaining some momentum on the recruiting trail, not only landing a commitment Friday afternoon, but I think more importantly, they're hosting a ton of top talent this weekend in Boulder, Colorado. Want to start with Christian Hudson, who I think is a fascinating pickup for Colorado. I got a player comp right off the bat. I'm going to go with Chidozie Nwankwo. Now, what did we talk about with Chidozie when he committed to Colorado in the transfer portal? Kind of that fire hydrant body, really, really powerful lower half, plays with low pads, able to eat up double teams. Those are all the same things you say about three-star defensive lineman Christian Hudson, who committed this Friday afternoon. Really like this pickup. I think more importantly, you're kind of excited about what Colorado can do on the recruiting trail over the next couple of weeks where, one, this is when we see Coach Prime really start to turn it up on the recruiting trail. But I think more importantly, there's proof of concept. Last year when Coach Prime was recruiting to Colorado, it was largely selling the vision that he had for Colorado. You're starting to see that vision become a reality on the football field in 2024, which I think puts Coach Prime in Colorado in, a really good position to close this 2025 class out in a big time way. Fired up to get into Christian Hudson, fired up to get into some other top talent going to be on campus. Now, before we get into it, as always, shout out to the Colorado fans. It's been a blast talking about this team, not only in the 2024 year, but really following how Coach Prime has built this program and constructed this roster. Y'all continue to show a ton of love to the boys. Appreciate y'all. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I have a feeling it's going to be a very busy next couple of weeks and months for Colorado in terms of how they're going about building this roster. Now let's get into Christian Hudson. And again, I think it starts with when Chidozie Nwankwo committed to Colorado, we said he's not necessarily going to be a guy that goes for 15 tackles for loss and 10 sacks, but this guy in the middle of that defensive line, he's going to do the dirty work. And I think Christian Hudson is a very similar kind of player where 6'1", he's up to around 290 pounds. When you are a little bit of a shorter defensive lineman, it gives you the ability to play with really good leverage. I mean, not many offensive linemen who are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" are going to be able to get under your pads because you're a little bit shorter. When you have a little bit lower of center of gravity, you're able to play a little bit lower, play with better leverage, and really eat up double teams. And we've talked about this. Like, why has Colorado taken so many steps in terms of defending the run in the 2024 year? Yes, the linebacker play has been much better than it was in 2023, led by Nikhai Hill-Green. But I would argue, why are the linebackers looking better in this Colorado defense? It has to do with guys like Chidozie on the inside, keeping them clean. When you have a defensive lineman like Chidozie or like a guy like Christian Hudson that can eat up double teams, prevent offensive linemen from getting to those linebackers at the second level, it's going to allow your linebackers to play a little bit better. And I think that's what you're seeing. This guy, again, I don't think he's going to light up the box score for Colorado over the next couple of years, but you talk about dirty work kind of dudes. That's Christian Hudson. And I think a couple other things I'll note with Christian Hudson. We talked about low pads, powerful. There's some really good athleticism that you like from this kid too. Like, he can run the line of scrimmage, he can get off some blocks, and he can make some plays as well. This is a really important piece for Colorado. And we've talked about this extensively. Colorado is going to continue to use the transfer portal. We all know that. I think Coach Prime wants to get some of these difference makers along the line of scrimmage out of the high school ranks. Guys like Jordan Seaton, guys like Christian Hudson. That's kind of what you're seeing him do. Now, I think the more exciting, or just as exciting of a conversation is, where Colorado's going on the recruiting trail. And I think you got to start with five-star quarterback Julian Lewis, going to be in Boulder this weekend. A couple of things to note. One, obviously USC not having a ton of success on the football field in 2024. I'm not going to get up here and say Julian Lewis is a lock to flip to Colorado. That being said, I think there's kind of a clear runway for Julian Lewis, and you can kind of see why he's intrigued with Colorado. One, Shadur Sanders having a ton of success over the last 2 years, but I think more importantly, there's that runway for Julian Lewis to be quarterback one the minute he steps foot on campus for Colorado, which no doubt for Julian, I think is a very appealing aspect about Colorado. With Shadur going to the NFL draft, you have some other quarterbacks on this roster, but I think what Colorado is really selling Julian Lewis is you come to Colorado, you're a guy that can play early. And I think he has a chance at playing early for USC too, but the quarterback picture a little bit more murky where Colorado, it's kind of clear. Julian Lewis, if you come to Boulder, you got a good chance at being the guy in 2025. And we've consistently said this about Julian Lewis throughout the recruiting process. If there's a quarterback that you feel comfortable playing early as a freshman, which is not easy to do, it's probably Julian Lewis. Even though he reclassified from 2026 to 2025, this kid has played a ton of football at a very high level at the high school ranks in the state of Georgia. He's a proven winner. He's, again, a lot of experience and snaps under his belt. This kid, in my opinion, is just a surgeon on the football field. He's not going to walk into a room and really impress you with the stature. He's got a good arm. I wouldn't say it's the best arm that you see in the 2025 class, but what you love about Julian Lewis, this kid, when he steps on the football field, you talk about processing, you talk about feel for the football game, managing pockets, all the small stuff that I feel like people don't necessarily talk about enough. Julian Lewis has that. And I think most importantly, he's a proven winner at a very high level of high school football down there in Georgia. We'll see what comes about Julian Lewis making it back to Colorado. There's obviously been it's been kind of a roller coaster. There was a lot of buzz around Julian Lewis coming to Colorado. Then that buzz kind of tapered off. And I think with Julian Lewis making this visit out again, I think the buzz is starting to pick up about Julian Lewis potentially playing his ball for Colorado. Another name I want to mention here, Adrien Wilson, decommitted from Arizona State about 2-3 days ago, got an official offer from Colorado, going to be on campus. I really like this kid at wide receiver from Texas. Now, you look at Adrien Wilson, I think where you want to start is this kid can do a lot of different things at the wide receiver spot. He's listed at 6'1", 170. I'll just say this. He looks bigger than that. Certainly plays bigger than that on the film. You talk about the physicality and body control this kid has at the catch point. He's one of those guys, when you get into the red area, just throw him up a football, let him go to work. He's got that physicality and body control to be a contested catch kind of wide receiver, but he also can be really electric after the catch. And you look at Colorado, this is an offense that's predicated getting our playmakers the football quick and let them go to work after the catch. I think Adrien Wilson, from that standpoint, certainly fits in to what Colorado wants to do. And you start looking at some of that young talent, potentially Adrien Wilson, obviously Draylon Miller having an impressive true freshman year. I think that would excite a lot of Colorado fans. And I think lastly, Cardash Smith, another kid from the Southeast in Alabama. There's been a lot of buzz around Cardash Smith, was previously committed to Auburn. Now he's committed to USC. This is his second, maybe even third visit to Colorado during this 2024 season. There's a lot of buzz around a potential flip commitment for Cardash Smith, and another one of those offensive tackles you want to get at the high school ranks. I don't think he's as year one ready as Jordan Seaton. Quite frankly, I don't think there's many tackles that we've seen coming out of high school that are year one ready like Jordan Seaton, but this is a guy that you want to plug in to this Colorado program, maybe give him a year to get his feet wet. I think he could be a good tackle. I think he could also play guard for Colorado as well, which again, when you're trying to build an offensive line out, you want guys that can do some different things. It's going to be a really fun next couple of weeks and months for Colorado, not only in 2024, when you're talking about this team as a legitimate contender in the Big 12, I think more importantly, now that we're winning some football games, this Colorado program, I think, is just going to continue to appeal to a lot of these kids at the high school ranks in the transfer portal. We'll close it out there. A lot to be excited about with Christian Hudson, and quite frankly, a lot to be excited about if you're a Colorado fan in the talent acquisition department. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Talk to y'all later. Peace.